Hello farmers, this is Rever, back on the farm for another episode. I think that this will be the last episode before I do a live stream on Friday night. For me it's Wednesday morning, but by the time I get these other episodes up, it will be, I'll put the live stream in between these, so I'm going to wait till the live stream goes live, which we'll see how long it takes. It took days the last time for it to end processing and then show up on the website, so maybe a couple days after that. But the live stream should be, much more video, so hopefully you watch that in chunks and pretend it's a few episodes. So without further ado, I wanted to here we are on field 14, which is where we left off last time, and I sprayed some PK to get that up from 3, and that should end up right at 4. You can see I put some herbicide down, so now we got herbicide B, 3 days protection. If you remember from the last video, we only had 2 days protection, so this will get us through the whole harvest. And then I wanted to come in here to the Bank of Hagenstad and use the field management section. This is 60% of the reason I have this. And I haven't taken out any loans yet, for the farm, but it is nice if you're playing, a little strict. If I decide at some point to, make it a little more difficult or increase the pace, this is a semi-fair way of, doing. I'm not real happy with the way you got to pay $14,000 every night. I'm not sure that I understand. I've never had a loan or heard of a loan that was based the way this one is, but I guess it makes sense to somebody somehow. It's more of like a loan shark deal than it is a bank loan, but maybe that's the way they do it in Europe. I'm not sure. In any event, I am thinking of buying a field, and I don't quite have enough money, so I may borrow money not against a loan to the Bank of Hagenstad, but a loan, against the regular bank line. So I got a bank line of 200, but I haven't borrowed any money so far. But if we go back to the field management, I think the biggest candidates, just based on their size, and I don't really have a huge combine, so even if I could borrow enough money to buy field 8, which I couldn't, I just really wouldn't. I mean, I could go to the Bank of Hagenstad and get a loan for it. In any event, my candidates were sort of like field 2, 7, and 9. I thought of field 18 maybe, but, I don't know. It just seemed, I'm already have to go up there to do field 3 tomorrow. I'll have, one field each day. But I want to kind of, because field 3 is so small, I thought, the first day, I'm going to kind of count these, when you compare the size. But field 7 is pretty big. If you compare it to field 16, which I'm not sure why the price is $81,000. Maybe that's because I already own it, but it seems kind of low. But field 7 is going to be $219,000. And that's sort of the one these other ones are a little bit cheaper, would be a little more affordable, but 9's, a little bit out of the way, and certainly smaller than 7. And then same thing with 2. So I think I'm going to, bite the bullet and buy this field. You can see I barely have enough money, so, what that means is that I'm going to have to borrow some, cash from the bank just to get, fertilizer if we need to buy anything. So that's going to cramp our style. Now the good thing about this map is I'm getting $2,000 an hour from the windmill. So if I don't go nuts, I do sleep every night, and really I'm going to fast forward when there's not overly much to do on the fields, at least to the point I start getting some money where we can go do some other things around the farm. Up by field 9 I found some cherry thing. I never worked with a cherry making thing, kind of seems strange, but we'll take a look at that, and at some point here we'll start exploring the map more thoroughly. Push comes to shove, I may cut down a couple trees, just to get the extra money, just to keep the stream interesting too. I can show you the way that I usually handle the trees that doesn't put me into cardiac arrest. Like sometimes, like dealing with that chipper, in-game chipper. So without further ado, let's talk about buying field 7. So there we go, we own it, turned it green. Let's leave the bank, and we have like no money. So this is day, let's take this tractor. This is day 3 on my planning cycle, and I know that this field, because I didn't own it before, has probably got weeds in it. I'm going to take a look at the condition. That red tractor is not right in my way. This thing's not the easiest to maneuver. So we'll just top this guy off with some seed. Over here, we should probably check. Let's see what level this guy is at. So we still have 27,000 seeds. That's a good amount. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to use that, because I think it costs me more money to run that machine than it does just to buy the seed. And I don't know many farmers who actually make their own seed anyway, so it's not like it's game breaking in its concept. Like that makes it so much more realistic. Because I wonder if there's a way you can go into that mod and turn down the price just slightly. And it would make sense if you couldn't get, I think on a hard map, you know, it does start to break even. Again, if you could sell the wheat for 700, but then you end up paying 900 run that machine, you're better, and the seeds only cost you 600. Why would you run 900? You're better off just selling it. And so there we are. So see, when we come into this field, see, especially those weeds that are kind of grown up here. Let's get out. And, so if I go to a place that has no, this area has no weeds in it, and it's down to 43% in its soil moisture because I had a hot day. You know, when I crossed 12 o'clock, there's my weather. There's my weather. So today's only 17°C, but if you cross 12 o'clock, you know, you lose that moisture. So let's shut this guy off. So as these weeds grow, like the first day they pop up, you don't see any difference. But so like really, like standing here, you know, the difference is slight. We're really not seeing, you know, too much. We're a little close to the edge of the field. We may, you know, this gives you like an average rating. But if we come over here to where they've been growing, we should see, you know, a reduction. See how we're down to 33%. If we come over here, we got 4 and 2. You know, depending on where we stand over here, you know, we're definitely down to 3 on the nitrogen. And that's, these weeds, from what I've noticed, have follow the same, you know, the same growth usage as the regular crops do. So sometimes you're going to lose a PK overnight, sometimes you won't. But I thought this would be a good experiment, well, not experiment, but a good learning thing to just show you. I'm going to plant this seed with, I don't know, what should we plant? I don't know, nothing hard. Canola is always kind of a nice crop, easy, definitely not grass. I'm not sure about hay. I don't know that I remember planting hay. Oh, definitely not cotton. And then we're back to wheat. So if we look at what we have planted, because we will get a crop out of this. It won't be the greatest yield numbers per acre, but alright, so here we go. So what do we have planted so far? We have some oats down here. We have some canola, and we have some wheat. And then up in 3, well, there's nothing planted in 3, even though it's showing barley. So really, with our choices, I think I would go with, we don't have rye on this field, and I can't plant soybeans with this particular machine for some reason. So what I think I will do is probably go with the barley. You know, we may hold the crop until field 3 is ready. You know, so this one's going to be ready in line with field 14, but that's going to give me, when the time comes, that'll give me an extra day to start getting field 7 back up to the right nutrients to kind of match with field 3. So what we're going to do, and let me see which direction. So this field's longer north-south, so I'll spin around and get plowing while we're not plowing, it's planting while we talk. GPS helps me line up with the edge. And we'll turn it 90 degrees. Move over a tiny bit. Yeah, it's nice. I even like this map just because these, some maps when the fields are all goofy, you have to adjust your GPS angle, which is just not the easiest thing in the world to do. Alright, so let's set this thing down. Why is that thing wiggling so much? Alright, lower it. And away we go. So now the cultivator portion of this will wipe out the weeds that are already there. But as we drive through the field, you may notice, that the moisture, everything else starts getting out of whack. Especially when the field is new like this, and it's, this is true because all these fields in course play pretty much start out, not course play, soil mods start out the same levels at the start of the map. If we don't spray anything on this field, including herbicide, you can spray the herbicide if you want, and it probably would help my yield, but it would also add moisture to it, and I really don't want to add any moisture to the field. All I want to do is just let this field start all these, all of these parameters, all these, moisture. pH is another one that's sort of, it's not going to be perfect because the pH is, may get affected by the weeds, yet at the same time, it's hard to zero that one out. But again, life is not a perfect place, is it? But we'll just let this grow, and we'll get a crop out of it. It won't, it'll probably be in the neighborhood of half of the yield that we normally would get if we did a really good job spraying. And the soil mod is just like the fertilizer in the regular, non-soil mod game, where, if you don't put the fertilizer down, you get half of the crop that you would if you put the fertilizer down. So, and that's where my loose percentage there is sort of based on, when I say 85%, it's sort of like, an 85% bonus is what I'm talking about. So there you go. That's how I zero this field out. And this field's really not the worst. I mean, you can probably get away without doing this. It's not like you spend days and days. But when it comes to other fields that I might purchase, there's one over there. This field's at 8, that huge, massive field. If we ever do field 8, it's probably going to be quite a while before we have the money, unless we borrow it from the bank. And I really don't plan on borrowing that much just for one field. That field's going to be all grown up with weeds, and over all that time, the nutrient levels are just going to get all out of whack. The other time to use this would be if I've heard of guys spraying the wrong thing. I mean, you don't spray the whole field. Like, you go run out of whatever nutrient, like nitrogen, let's just say, and then all of a sudden you're you go refill, but you forget to take it off of NPK, and then you don't realize it that day until you start running through your field later on. And when you do run through your field, you notice that half of it's got one set of numbers and the other has the other set. So, to zero it out if you had your numbers high, could take a while. But I think, and you can max it out on the high side too, so it's not like you can't, like, if your nitrogen's the one that's mostly out of whack, just put manure on there a few days, which will plow it in. And again, the other thing to say is you really don't have to wait for the crops. Like, you don't have to plant a crop, you can just spray it and spray it and spray it. Obviously, you can't spray two nutrients in the same day, but you don't have to, go through a whole crop cycle. But at the same time, again, even if your crop cycle's all messed up, you raise your nitrogen way up high, it's not going to kill you. You're still going to get some crops on. They're just not going to be as good. And hey, this is easier. You don't have to spray at all. We're just going to let this field do its thing. And maybe I'll show you pretty much each day, how it changes, and then obviously 4 or 5 days from now, 4 or 5 days, we'll come back to this field and see what it looks like. And I'm pretty much guaranteeing you that my nitrogen and PK will be at 0. The moisture, because we're at 43, I think the moisture is even going to get down to 0. So that means that, it's never going to fall below 0. So those things, places that are low right now, mess that turn up. Cheat it just a little bit. That helps. Take it back there. So but yeah, so that's how I'll quote 0 this field out. See, as we see, this is new weeds. I can kind of tell. I don't think any of these are that mature. I'm only on Wednesday. But if I had let this field keep going, like we might see a little blip right here. Nah, it's not enough. There we go. So that's we now own field 7, and we have no money. Fortunately, we have enough seed in the bank. We won't need to buy seed, and we're not going to spray fertilizer or anything on this field. Herbicide's the most expensive. That's the one that kind of kills you if you don't have much money. So really what it comes down to is we have a bit more spray, but really, so when it comes to the money thing, we're going to get $2,000 an hour from that machine, from the windmill. So we still have to spray field 14 twice, but field 17, we'll have to spray something in field 17 too. It's field 16. So we still have one more day of spraying. And you get a little more spraying on the first days because you're kind of behind. You start out with lower numbers. After this first day, things, you don't have to do quite as much spraying on the next crop. And then eventually we'll have enough animals, we'll get some slurry or some manure. Though to be honest, a lot of times they don't really contribute that much PK to the operation. And they give you a lot more nitrogen, which is good in some ways, but also can tend to overdo the nitrogen compared to just spraying the regular fertilizer. But hey, it's free, and at times it's useful. Normally, for me, because I end up spraying NPK to try to keep my PK right at 14 or right at 4. I usually end up with way more nitrogen being my issue. I've heard people suggest that they should have a PK too, but I don't know. It would ruin half of the balancing act. The way he set up the nitrogen numbers and the PK numbers, where you can do the MPK, it kind of made it so that you'll never. Once in a great while. 1 out of 20 fields. Once, like I'll get 100%. But if you had done, nitrogen 4 and a separate one that was PK2, it's all you would spray every time. Nitrogen, PK. It wouldn't be as hard. But yeah, if you're just starting out with the soil mod, I would just say relax about it. It's just, it should be easy to, know, once you get the drift of it, you do a few fields and you go through a few days, you know, you'll start seeing what it's doing. And yeah, you're still going to get a crop yield, even if it's not as high with this field. It's still worth planting this. Again, then you have to do no extra work, no extra fertilizing. Just let it sit here. I'm not sure if this is all I'll do today. I'm sort of a bit at a point where I have no money. So even if I decided I wanted to go cut some of the trees down here and there, I really don't have enough income to, I don't have enough money to buy the stuff I want. So today may be another short day where I fast forward. I feel that's a little bit cheaty with that $2,000 coming in an hour. You know, we can go through our animals here real quick. Make sure they're in good shape. I need wheat for those chickens. You know, as far as the sheep are concerned, they're in good shape. They really don't, they still got plenty of grass in there. I'm not missing anything from them. So they're at 110%. You know, with my cows, I got them to, you know, 110%. I could go run over some more mixed ration, but that's hardly an emergency situation right now. Everything else is way up there. Yeah, we got milk coming in, 2,500, so do want to get that milk taken care of in return. Distracted. Back to chickens, and then let's go over to these feeder ones. So we only got 90% on these because we didn't give them straw. So that's something else we could do, you know, today. Let's get them some straw. I guess I forgot all about that. So that's the sheep too. Where are they again? It's hard to see. Sheep too. I think they're down on the southern map. So we have to get them some straw. I'm not sure how I forgot that. And then pigs. Yeah, they're missing straw too. I must have forgot. But then we got, you know, that whole episode was helter-skelter for me. I need to be more organized about that if I want to make a YouTube video. So we need some straw to the pigs and the sheep. Beef are fine. And I'm only at 90% on these guys, but they have no straw, so I think they may need straw. We'll go check that out. I think if I let me finish up this field on my own, and then when I come back, we'll take care of the rest of those animals, and that should be an episode. See you in a little bit. Well, I doubt you noticed the in-game time, but literally 30 seconds after I stopped that recording, it flipped over. So, you know what? Thinking about it, I was wrong about the 110%. That's the regular animals. So if you look here, they're 105 even without the straw. It's kind of odd. I mean, grain that they eat. But see, these guys are 110. That's the regular in-game animals. So the modded animals, the fattening animals, they only get to 100%. And you can see the cows have everything. So, without a doubt, to answer Rich's question, see, I have no earth fruits and I have no silage with the chickens, and they are at 100%. So you're not going to get any better than that. And like I said, that's kind of what I remembered, is that, and I remember driving around myself trying to shove it in any place I could, and just don't require. A little misleading on the PDA here. Understandable. It would be nice if they could change color or something. I know that each animal is different. Anyway, well, there you go. I hope you had I hope you enjoyed the episode. And I will get this episode up. It'll be the last one up before the live stream. And then we'll wait till the live stream post to get the next episode, which, it was like last week. So the next episode you'll see after this one should be like Monday or Tuesday. And, like I said, today's Wednesday for me, and I'll get this one up by Friday and do a live stream on Friday. So I hope that you have a good one, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Take care.